You have discovered through the expansion of the internet world. I am Johnny Allen, and this is the Johnny Allen 30-Minute Podcast. We're going to be talking about your life, my life, and the world today. So sit back, relax, grab something if you need it, and let's do this. The podcast does start now. I'm your host, Johnny Allen, of the Johnny Allen 30-Minute Podcast. Hey, if this is your first time stopping by on the YouTube side, please hit the subscribe, the like, the bell, all that good stuff, you know. I think it's just kind of routine to say that, especially when you have a channel like mine that's, one of these channels that's not way up there in the search atmosphere, right? So need all the help we can get here. But anyway, thanks again for stopping by, guys. I do appreciate that. And hey, a big shout out and kudos to Woody Cumbie and Tom Hubbard. Last week, I did the first video guest, and that was Woody. We did that show last week. It turned out, way above expectations. Woody answered the questions that I presented to him. He did such an amazing job of answering these questions. If you haven't had a chance to check out that episode, please go back and do so. It was just really a good episode. We ran over about 20 minutes, but I think it was worth it, every second and minute of it. If you have any questions about our creator or whatever, please check that episode back. I'll actually link it below, or if you're already on my channel, you can check it out. It was last week. But thanks again, Woody and Tom, for doing that last week. I mean, it was amazing. I actually did the show at Life Point Church in a real studio. It was nice. Now I'm back in the comforts of my little home studio today. But last week again, thanks. I can't express it enough how happy I was with the way that whole thing turned out. It was really wonderful. And we're going to have more guests in the future. Would like to have actually Pastor Woody back on to talk about other things in the future. And I think we'll do that at some point. I'll let you know. But again, thanks for stopping by the channel. I am Johnny Allen again, and it's 30 minutes. And if you're not familiar with what I do, I just talk about everyday life situations. That's all I do. I'm an average guy. I'm a working guy. I'm just an average person getting through life, trying to get through these challenges of the life that we live today on this planet. I'll mention some of the challenges we have. I'm just trying to get through the everyday thing and trying to make the best of it. And that's really, and I share what I experience every day out there in the world. I get back with you guys. We have feedback. We talk a little bit about it. That's basically what we do. Also drink coffee on the show. If you're a coffee drinker, hey, get your coffee out now and join me, right? Okay, let's have a little Java. Today I'm drinking, I know it's a Starbucks mug. I actually like the Starbucks mug because it's big. And you know what? It's a nice mug, and I have nothing against Starbucks. I go there a couple, maybe a time or two a week. But today it's CWE coffee. I'll have the link below to CWE as well. Let's have a swig of coffee before we get going today. All right, so let's get going today. Let's get going on these talking points I got. There's a lot going on right now. Needless to say, there's a lot going on in the world right now, right? If you read the news, wow. And I try to stay away from the news. I've talked about this many times before. I got to take a break from it because it'll drive you lupo, right? I mean, all this stuff that's going on in the world today, it's just incredible. Okay, so here's my talking points today, guys. And chime in, comment below on anything I got to say. Like I said, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down. If you ever want to talk about a subject, you comment below as long as it's clean. I'm not going to talk about something really stupid or weird, we're just talking about everyday life, common things that affects all of us, quite frankly. Okay, so let's talk about the one right now, COVID. COVID, is it ever going to go away? I was asked this question the other day. He said, John, first of all, I work in healthcare during the day, right? So I've been in the healthcare industry for over 20-some years. I see it every day, exposed to it every day. I mean, So anyway, the questions I get is, John, do you think we're ever going to be able to take these masks off? This was a fellow associate. And do you think that COVID's ever going to go away? And I said, well, I'm not a professional when it comes to the field of viruses. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not a biologist. I'm not, any of these things, right? But if you go by history, yes, it'll eventually go away. The Spanish flu went away, right? It took, I think, 4 years to go away. And I told him, I said, I think eventually it will go away. But I did say that the difference between this one and the Spanish flu is I do believe this one has been manipulated. I've said that in the past. I really do believe that now. I think they're proving that now, that it's been tinkered with. The virus has. And, at the first, when I first mentioned this a couple years ago to some of my buddies, they're like, oh, no, John. This virus was never tinkered with. It's all natural, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward a couple years, and they're finding out, there's some stuff going on in the lab, with the little dishes and stuff. And so anyway, manipulated somewhat, modified, whatever you want to call it. So with that being said, I said, you know what? I think this may take a little longer because it's constantly changing. They don't know a whole lot about it. They're figuring things out. But as soon as they figure something out, it mutates into something else, and it mutates and it mutates. So I said, it may take a little longer than 3 or 4 years. It may take 5. I don't know. It may never go away. I hope and pray that it does go away, because to say it in a nutshell, man, it's just a pain, right? It's a pain. Everybody's got to deal with it. It's a pain. With that being said, with the virus, some interesting things I want to share. Now, you guys knew last month I had to take about a month off. And if you go the episode before last, I talk about my unscheduled leave of absence from the podcast, because I had gotten a weird sickness, right? I got a weird thing that happened right before Christmas. It affected my eye. I had a really bad headache. And if you guys want to see that, you can go back and I can talk a little bit about the history of what I was suffering with. And to cut to the chase, I had a bunch of tests. I was in a hospital for 4 days. They ran a bunch of tests on me, and they come to the conclusion that everything they ran on me turned out negative, which was great. I didn't have anything really bad going on. But the thing is, they couldn't figure out really what caused this inflammation in my eye to go funny. Now, what happened was, to review a little bit, I got a double vision in my eye, almost double and crooked vision in my left eye. It's a little droopy over here. It was drooping down. I had a really severe migraine headache. Just felt just not together, right? Just weird things were happening, especially with my vision. Throwing off my coordination, everything. Now, that all did heal up in a matter of about 3 weeks. It finally got back to normal. Praise God. But even to now, and even in these earplugs I'm hearing now, I still have ringing in the ears. Like if I went to a rock concert, just got out of a rock concert, which I did a lot of those back in the day, and people say, well, maybe that's the ringing, John. But no, that would only last for a little bit and it would go away. This thing has been happening since I got this ailment that happened, and the ringing is still going. Well, I did my own investigation. You know me. I like to find out things that's going on. So I pulled up an article on a legit website, a news site, and the article was interviewed a lot of people from the last couple of years that had COVID in the past, that's had COVID now, and they share, and it's a blog, and they share and they ask questions to different doctors, and they share what's been going on. So I'll just read a couple of these right now. And I thought this was very interesting. And what I Googled is, can COVID cause double vision? Because when I went to my doctor, and I love her, she's a great doctor, but when I initially sat down with her when this was happening, I said, do you think COVID could have caused this? Now, I tested negative at the hospital and everything, but get this. Just hang with me because this is interesting. Okay, so I printed off these blogs, and this was just from February of last year. The person said, I had double vision after having COVID. Feels like my right eye is cross-eyed. It's very hard to straighten it up. It was hard to drive. It's almost been a month since I've had it. That was Kevin Handy. This Kathy says that she had double vision in her eye. How long will it take to go away? She's asking one of the doctors. Christine, I had double vision in my eye after COVID. She went to ophthalmologist and you know that her eyes tested okay, but that she had double vision. They couldn't explain it. That's the same with me too. I went to ophthalmologist after I was released to the hospital. Looked at my eyes were fine. He said, we don't know what's going on back there. My neurologist, same thing. Things are fine. CT scans, MRIs, I had all that stuff, right? And I'm not going to go on too long about this, but I just want to prove a point about this COVID thing, especially if you guys are having troubles with COVID or whatever. You can comment below on anything about COVID. If you had it, what kind of problems you've been having, stuff like that. So anyway, it goes on. I got this whole, there's probably about 50 pages in here of just people going on and on. It just keeps going on and on about how I had a vision problem. I had double vision. About 3 to 4 months. This guy had it for 3 to 4 months. That God bless his soul. That would have drove me crazy. I had it for about 3.5 weeks before it went away. He had it for 3 or 4 months. These people were tested negative. Same thing. I tested negative for COVID, but I had the double vision for 2 weeks. It just goes on and on and on. Like I said, goes on and on and on. So my point with all this thing is that they really don't know what COVID is doing. Okay. They say, okay, you get the cough, you get the sneezes. It feels like a cold, this one, especially this variant right now. It affects, at first, pneumonia. People got sick with pneumonia. They died. It's been causing cardiovascular issues with strokes and everything. It's caused a lot of this vascular problems, inflammation problems. I've heard people getting inflammation problems. Same with me. This whole thing that my eye was caused by inflammation behind the eye in the vascular area, right, that caused the problem. So the bottom line that the point I'm trying to make with all this is that, like I said, they really don't know everything about COVID. It's causing all these weird side effects. And the thing is, they call it like a prolonged COVID or like a, I don't even know if I'm saying that term right, but it's basically people that have had COVID even like a year or two ago. It stays in your system, and then all of a sudden it springs back out and does weird things. It affected my eye, my head. It affected my foot. I felt like I broke my foot. Just out of the blue. It got red, swelled up. It was like gout, and then it finally went away. So it's affecting inflammation in your system. It's ramping that up. It's affecting people's lungs. It's causing blood clots. It's causing strokes. I think a lot of these people that died, like, we just lost, what's his name? Help me here. The guy on Full House. I'm spacing his name right now, but he just passed away from a stroke. We've had a lot of people, dying of strokes. Now, Eddie Van Halen. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Eddie Van Halen. He died almost 2 years ago now. A year ago in October, he had passed away. Now, he did fight cancer and all this stuff. But the official release was that he died from a stroke was what really killed him. In other words, these things are coming up, with COVID is causing these side effects. Comment below on anything I got to say. Now, with me, it's done that. I honestly believe since they ruled everything else out, which I'm glad they did, the heavy stuff, it has to be COVID. Because I had COVID when it first came out, like in late 2019, when they were first figuring it out. They didn't know what it was. And I just know that I had a mild fever for a few days. I was really headachy. Just didn't feel good. Very tired, very tired. I was having this metallic smell for a while. It lasted for about a month. I kept thinking there was something wrong with the house. I'd go outside, still smell it. This metal, chemically smell, metallic smell. And then my smell went away altogether. And then as I do research down the road, as they're finding this stuff out, they found out, oh, that's COVID. I was like, oh, bango, I had it. There's no way I couldn't have had it. Had every sign. Now, so what I just had, you go forward a year and a half or so, could that have been a relapse of a COVID, or what they call a trigger of COVID being in your system? Because the viruses never go away. They'll go dormant. But once a virus gets in you, it's there. These viruses can lay in your body forever. And they go dormant. Your immune system attacks them and holds them at bay. But something can cause them to spring back up. And I really think that's what happened with me. So anyway, again, anything you got any comments about COVID, please chime in. It's an everyday life situation, right, that we're experiencing right now. Everybody's fighting this dang on COVID. Okay, so with COVID, I'm going to go on one more thing with the COVID. So now the government's wanting to issue out N95 mask. Oh, we could go on forever about this. I don't have enough time today. I've already burned up half of the 30 minutes, but now the government wants us to have N95 masks, people. So I got news for them. I'm not no expert, but I know that masks only help so much percentage. Now, they do help, but they do not, and they will not. And I said this like a year and a half ago. You can look up the old episode. It will not totally block out the COVID-19 virus or any virus for that point. It will not totally, it's not a total guarantee 100% that you're going to not get it. The only way that you can do that is if you wear a freaking spacesuit. That's it. Period. You have to wear a spacesuit. You have to wear biological gear. Totally covered. Like if you go in space, you need a suit. That's the only way, you're going to ever not get it. You're going to get it. I just saw an interview with Paul Stanley. I always talk about these rock guys because I keep up with them. Paul Stanley got COVID not too long ago, I guess. Okay, just recently. He can't figure out how he got it. I did everything right and everything. I got news for you, people. I agree with this one guy on another podcast. He said that everybody's going to get it. You might as well just let them get it. Build up the immunity, herd immunity, and just get it over with. Because the more you lock down and you mask and you keep it, so it's not going to work. I mean, it's going to help a little bit, but it's not going to work. The way this virus is going, everybody's going to get it. If you don't get it, you're just lucky, or you got immunity to where you don't get it. And that works too, because my daughter just had it not too long ago. My granddaughter just had it. The live-in husband, fiance, so to speak, lives there. He never got it. I explained that. They're right together. Another instance is my neighbor had it, back in the summertime. He had it real bad. He's lucky to be here. He survived. He even had the shot. And his wife never got it. So that's unexplained. It's kind of the roll of the dice. Depends on your immunity. Sometimes your immunity will say, okay, yeah, I'm not dealing with this. Some people's immunities is like, oh my gosh, it's just, it's almost killing me. And sometimes, unfortunately, it does kill people. Anyway, I'm going to get another drink of the coffee. Again, it's CWE. But anyway, I was talking about the N95 mask. The government is making us go get, or they're not making us go get it, but they're sitting out. We'll go get your free N95. It's a gift from the government. Of course, we know the government doesn't give us anything. Nothing's free, right, from the government. That's a whole nother podcast too. But anyway, they're going to give you an N95 mask. You just sign up and you can go get it, and free COVID test and all this stuff. So, and I may talk about this a little bit next week. I don't know where all this is really leading. The N95 mask. Is there something up that we don't know about, really? Yeah, I guess that's a whole nother podcast. Comment below what you think about the N95 mask. You're going to go get I heard that you get 3 free ones, right? You're going to get yours? I teased about today, so I'm going to go get mine because I'll use it this summer when I'm doing like a little housework, when I'm doing a little spray painting or something outside. I'll put the N95 on to save me for that. So my coworker says, you mean you're not going to use it to get, to save you from the virus? I said, Reggie, it's not really going to do much good. I mean, unless I got a freaking, like I said, spacesuit, it's just the way it is. I'm not anti-mask, anti-vac. I got the vac and everything too, but I'm just telling you, the mask help, but they're not going to 100% keep you from getting the COVID virus, period. That's in the story. I mean, if you don't believe me, look it up other places, people that know more about it than I do. But that's just a fact. So, then we're going to skip my next talking point, the thing I thought about today. Another thing in the news, which I know I don't pay much attention to the news, but these things just kind of pop out there. This is interesting. The Ukraine and Russia thing. It's kind of heating up over there. Kind of getting a little weird. Kind of getting a little scary. Kind of looking like a little bit of World War II kind of thing going on. Putin's got 300,000 troops on the border of Ukraine. Ukraine's got to be shaking right now, thinking what the world is going on. Everybody knows that, Vladimir Putin, I don't know the man. I don't know him. I just, I don't know who he is. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him personally, right? I don't know him. I'm not in government. I'm not in any of that. I'm a small, everyday guy. But he was with the KGB. You can look it up. He was formerly KGB. And I think he kind of wants things back the way they used to be. I mean, that's my humble opinion. He kind of wants the Ukraine to be there, or as part of Russia. He's got a port there. If he controls Ukraine, he's got a lot of access to a lot of things. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it's kind of scary for the people in Ukraine that want freedom and liberty and don't want really to be under Putin's thumb, So, but it's getting kind of weird because things can escalate. If stuff starts flying over there, I don't know. Comment below, guys. I just feel like, hang on. Like, there's Bark and Bonnie. He's like, what the heck? Seriously. I mean, it's getting kind of weird over there. We got to keep watching that situation. And then that leads us to our president of the United States. Now, I giggle a little bit because this is funny. And like I said, I'm not a political show. I'm just, everyday life situations. That's what I'm doing. Just talking about everyday life stuff. Last week we talked about God. I talked with the pastor. Someone that knows more about that than I do. We're just talking about everyday life situations because people ask me, with the podcast last week, is there such thing as God, John, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm not affiliated with political. I'm not affiliated with anything in particular. I'm just this average guy looking at the world events and looking at what's going around me and my surroundings. So anyway, observation. I just want to make that clear because people say, well, John, are you a political podcast? No, I'm not. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about the president of the United States. And the reason why I said again, I'm giggling because I didn't know this. One of my Navy friends that told me yesterday that I actually work with says, hey, John, did you hear about President Biden? I said, no. What did he do this time? I'm just being honest. What did he do? He said, well, I heard that he was on a hot mic and he told one of the Fox news people, he called him a stupid son of a bitch. I'm just telling you, that's what he called him, right? He was on a hot mic. He didn't know it, but he called him that. Now, could it be that President Biden's feeling a little bit of pressure from all this stuff going on? The economy really sucks in the tank. He's got the worries with Russia. He's got the worries with China. I've said this before when President Trump was in office. I could not be the president of the United States. You cannot pay me enough money to be the president of the United States. God love these guys that want to be the president of the United States, So President Biden, the people that really voted for President Biden, a lot of them that I talked to, they wanted Biden because they thought Trump was too stark. They thought that Trump was too nasty, and they had mean tweets. And they wanted to vote for the older guy that supposedly had more experience, been in office all these years, and he wasn't so mean, and he was nice. That was the generality. I'm just being honest with you. So yesterday proved, see, I've been following Joe Biden for years because I'm an old school guy, right? I knew what he was all about. I know he's got a temper, and I know he's got a hot head, and I know he's opinionated, just like Trump. There's no difference. There's no difference, really, guys. There really is no difference. So Joe Biden just said, hey, stupid son of a bitch. He didn't like that. He didn't like that question. So what do you guys think? Comment below whether you're a Biden fan or not a Biden fan. And what is this anyway? I said Trump. Okay, what is this anyway? And this is part of it. Why do we still got this Biden versus Trump versus Biden thing? President Trump is bye-bye. He's history. He was the president, he was, but he's not now. Biden is. So why does the media and everybody keep, driving that agenda, driving that narrative that, if it was President Trump, he did far worse, and that's the first thing you hear. Or, in Biden's defense, well, hey, Biden did this, he's no different than Trump, which is what I said, which is true. My point is they're all kind of the same. And my point is this: there should be some dignity in the White House, and there really isn't. It hasn't been for years. Now, I'm sure that presidents in the past got mad, upset, cussed, or whatever, but they kind of kept it, they didn't really bring it out as much as they do now. I don't know. The president, I just feel like, is the pressure on President Biden? Has he got so much pressure? Did he take on too much? Is he too old to be doing what he's doing? Just comment below. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys think he's doing a great job, and that's cool. If you want to just comment on it. I feel like he's got a lot of pressure and maybe took on more. Like I said, I would not be, this is my humble opinion, I would not be the president. There's no way. There's no way. And the media does need to get off the Biden versus Trump thing. Get off that. I don't know what it is. I really think, if I'll be honest with you guys, I really think it's just entertainment. The media and the news, they gotta sell, right? That's their business. So let's just keep a story and a going, and let's just keep this narrative rolling, and let's just keep this nonsense going because it, draws viewers in, But the real scary things are these diseases that are manufactured or not, but especially the ones that are tinkered with. That's a concern in the world. That's a concern. Our social morals and social graces or whatever are gone, whatever. Our social whole aspects of what's going on in the world today is not so great, okay? Weird stuff going on. That's the real issues, I think. Real issues are like, countries trying to take over other countries. That's real issues. That's real issues going on. The environment is an issue too, but I think as the United States does a pretty good job, we could do more. That's a whole new podcast or whatever, another podcast. But my point is we have a lot of concerns that's going on really in the world, right? Lastly, before I go, guys, I do appreciate it stopping in today. Again, if you didn't check out last week's episode, please do. If you're struggling with what's going on in the world today, like I said, maybe reach out to God. Maybe reach out to get some faith or something like that. Okay, get some faith. I didn't say something like that. I mean, get some faith, period. I mean, that's it. We do need guidance in the world, but I highly recommend checking out last week's. Last thing I want to mention is I live in the Midwest in the US of A. It's cold. Cold weather. This is my last thing today, guys. Cold weather. Okay. Do you like cold weather? First of all, are you a cold weather fan or a warm weather fan? I'm more of a warm weather fan. But what do you do when the weather gets cold? What do you do in the wintertime if you live in an environment where it's cold like it is here? It's going to be like, I think yesterday it was -2 at the low. It was cold. It's going to warm up a little bit this weekend, but 40, whatever. So what do you do when it's cold? When it's cold weather? What do you do to keep busy? Or do you keep busy? Just comment below. I'm just kind of interested. I'll tell you this in a nutshell. Got 5 more minutes left. What I do in the wintertime. What does Johnny Allen do in the wintertime? Okay. I do a little bit more hibernating, especially after getting over this COVID or whatever it was I had. I've been doing a little more hibernating lately, which has not been a bad thing. I need a little more rest. Of course, I do a podcast once a week. That's kind of fun. And I dabble in my music. I'm going to get on that a little bit more. And, I'll get out and take some walks. I did take a walk last weekend, and I was going to film. I actually was filming a little bit on my camera. I was going to show you guys. And for some reason, the camera pooped out. The phone on the camera pooped out. I don't know if I just didn't hit something. It's probably, operator error. But anyway, I was going to share a little bit with you maybe later. But anyway, I just go for these walks once in a while. If it's not, blistery cold, or if it's really, somewhat cold, I bundle up and go. So I just do those things. I try to get outside. Of course, I got to work, But anyway, what do you guys do in the wintertime? I'll take the wife out to dinner once a week and out to breakfast once a week, especially with COVID. We maybe go once a week. That's it. Of course, do the obvious things, go to the grocery store and things like that. Although I can tell you what, I haven't gone to the grocery store for a while. I stocked up, and I just kind of been living off the stocking up stuff. Sounds like Christmas stocking. I've been living on my stock that I accumulated and staying away from the store. Because lastly, comment below, like I said, about the winter, COVID, anything I have to talk about today, guys. Lastly, the reason why I've been staying out of the store because everything's so high. I stopped and got gas today. It cost me $37. I was like about this much in front of E, about an eighth of a tank, and it cost me $37. So clip the full, so not quite. So I don't know. And, the prices are up on everything. Eggs were like, oh my gosh, I paid like almost $4 for a carton of 12 eggs. It's gotten kind of crazy. Where it all leads, I don't know. Like I said, if you're struggling with all this stuff going on, go grab some faith. Go reach out to your local church or just talk to people that have faith. If you're not a big church goer, I can understand some of that. Just, with me, real quick before I go 2 minutes, but the thing about church, and kind of relating to last week talking to Pastor Woody, it took me a long time to find a church that I actually locked into and felt like family, and it takes a while, and it actually works. And so it may take a while to find one, because a lot of times you go to one. If you go to one, it's like, this isn't my thing. Don't give up. Just keep searching, and you'll find the one that you fit into. And it's not a bad thing. It's not. It's actually pretty good. Got people that support you and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hey, the guest, right, Barney? The guests were fantastic. We're going to have more guests in the future because I tell you what, as much as I like to talk like this for 30 minutes, it's so nice to have a guest and to bump ideas off of, and someone that's an expert in the field that we happen to be discussing, like Pastor Woody, obviously, last week. And I talked to my good friend Mark Lindsay when Eddie Van Halen passed away, a musician, a guitar player that's a virtuoso guitar player in his own right. So it's nice to have the guest, so the guest will be coming. And I said that all along, and we got the guest. We got the first one. So, again, thanks for tuning in last week. Thanks again, Woody and Tom. It was great. Hope to do it again. Keep safe against COVID. Keep safe against predators. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of a dangerous world we live in out there. So just be careful. Don't walk around in fear, but just be careful and look around in your surroundings. And if you got a better way to do something and a healthy way to do something, do it. Because living unhealthy and it's just not good, right? We got enough bad stuff out there. You don't need to make worse ones. Like I said, too many kids last week. I said too many kids are on drugs and Rodine, and they're drinking and they're busting up their kidneys, and it's just there's hope out there and there's answers. So that's all I got to say about it, guys. Like I said, every week, the good Lord willing, I will see you guys next week on the Johnny Allen 30-minute podcast. Thanks again for stopping by. Don't forget to hit the bell, the subscribe button, and the like button if you like this video. I do appreciate it. And go get your CWE coffee. Later, Gators.